Okay, let's look at the process flow for delayed reaction EP. For those of you who want to trade delayed reaction EP. So let's see, where is my. Okay, so let's look at delayed reaction EP. The basic idea behind delayed reaction EP is to find a low risk entry point on a stock which had a catalyst or a 9 million EP within 25 days, and you want to find the first one, right? Obviously, if after that, like, it starts going up, that is not the idea. So what I'm looking for situations which can be like, say, um, on the short side, right here, there is a catalyst. Misses earnings guides it down. So there is a clear catalyst here, as a earnings as a catalyst, right? And so the stocks, if you see the X-ray, right, and basically. Uh, it has a negative growth rate and it guides down, right? And basically, so obviously on that day, it went down, but this is where it becomes a delayed reaction EP. So that's an example of what a delayed reaction EP would be on the bearish side. On the bullish side, HIMS is a good example of delayed reaction EP. There is a catalyst tie-up with NVO. It trades around 152 million shares. At that time, that was the highest volume traded, right, on that thing. And there is a genuine catalyst here, which is like the reason it was going down was because the Ozempic shortage was getting over, so it ties up. So and then like a stock makes a move of this thing or Reddit. So again, essentially having a clear understanding of a setup is a basic minimum requirement for trading any setup, right? And if you don't have that, it's like don't trade a setup if you don't understand a setup, right? As simple as that. And that's the thing which a lot of people here are struggling with, and I know why they're struggling with also. They can fix it, but I think some of them don't want to fix it also, right? Here, this is another example of a delayed reaction EP, where like basically there is a uh, this is the day, and if you see again, the volume was one of the highest volume, right? And then like, and this is the delayed reaction kind of a thing. This is what you want to see because it allows you to like make a bigger position sizing and a closer stop than you'd be able to do it on the day of the uh, catalyst, right? Basically, so that's the idea basically. And the process is very simple in terms of there is a process which is like you create a watch list. Uh, and then monitor the watch list, break like boil it down to 5 or 6 stocks to watch basically, which are your A category kind of a setup, or like rank them 5 or 6, and then in the morning, then you watch those stocks, and as and when you see that they are starting to attract buying or selling, then you enter. and put a closer stop, because if it is going to work, it is going to work because there's a genuine catalyst, right? And that's one way of doing. That is the way it should be done. But in addition to this, the other process loop which you need to run sometime during the day. Because many times when you look at it, right, you will have a stock which doesn't look like it is setting up as an anticipation, but still it can break out, right? And so if you look at today, you basically, before like anybody asked, like, this is, you're looking for a stock which had a 9 million EP in the last 25 days, right? And why did it become 50? It is for last 25 in last 1 month. So you want to find a setup within the first 20 or 25 days. So like here, there was a catalyst, right, basically. And then this is where you want to get in as a delayed reaction EP. That was the first valid breakout, right? And basically, obviously, after that, if you say, oh, this is a delayed reaction EP, or this is a delayed reaction EP, or this is a delayed reaction EP, um, it just indicates that there is a lot of delay in your understanding of a setup idea, right? And that cannot be a delayed reaction EP, right? And a delayed reaction EP is something which you want to find the first setup, right? Not like it doesn't have to be 4% breakout. In fact, and if you wait for a 4% breakout, you might as well not do delayed reaction EP. Like I did this Fluence as a delayed reaction EP, right? So there was a genuine catalyst. Next day in the morning, I bought it immediately, right? And I'm not waiting for a breakout. I bought it as a OPG because I thought this catalyst is going to lead to, and it was gapping up. So the gap up in the morning itself was enough for me to get in onto that particular setup. So don't wait for a
Formula
confirmation. If you wait for confirmation, you might as well just run a combination bullish scan, right?
formula shows us 4% breakout or breakdown.
Who?
The formula, the TC2000 scan.
That is looking for stocks which had this catalyst in the last 25 days, anytime during the last 25 days. This is the watch list, like this is a complete list. There are 405 stocks which made this condition in the last 25 days. Out of that, you're going to go and look for a stock which is setting up, right? Did you see my last week's? Like I've been doing this for every week on the weekend, right? So this is what I do. I have this list, right? And at the end of the day, I every day, at the end of the day, right? Every day I sort this by max volume 25. That is like on the day of the breakout, what was their max volume? By that you're putting sorting it, right? That just like in a max volume, max V to 25, right? And that is the prioritization. So that is the step by step, right? So you're looking at it and looking at whether this is a delayed reaction setup, right? And you're creating a watch list. So if I go through this entire thing now and I create a watch list, right? Uh, See, if gaps up makes you nervous, right? Don't trade that gap up, right? And I mean, like, if it makes you nervous, what can somebody do, right? Nobody can do anything about it, right? That's your personal problem, right? Your wife makes you nervous. What can we do about it? Can we do anything about it? No. Which EPs are not like, and I'm interested in a EP which has a catalyst in terms of either earnings as a catalyst or it has a theme as a catalyst. There is nothing which is bad for a delayed reaction EP, right? There is nothing which is bad for a delayed reaction EP. Now, of in this case, right, we have a clear catalyst here, right? The earnings was a catalyst. The market reacted very negatively to the earnings, right? Now, this is the first delayed reaction short setup which is setting up here, right? This is like, and if it starts breaking down on Monday, uh, I can guarantee you that I'll be short this particular stock because the market has told you, right? And it has sold up so much on 3 4 days, 9 million plus, right? And that's like, and it's sold up. So market consider that as a negative catalyst, right? So this is what you're looking for as a delayed reaction. That's a good example of something with a delayed reaction, right? Now here, this was like something which was a delayed reaction. Hasn't means like it did do 17, 18%. Doesn't hasn't done much after that basically. But that was the like here obesity drug without muscle loss. Now on this day, if you got in early, right, and basically then yes, fine, you might be still sitting in that trade. But if you didn't get in early, this was a day, but it faded. But this day or this day is where like another I entered on this particular day, right? And basically, so that's what a delayed reaction setup. Again, so, some of you, if you are coming to this meeting and you have a problem with understanding a setup, um, I just think that you're just not like gone through the means how many times we have discussed delayed reaction EP in just last 1 month? Tell me, just in last 1 month, how many meetings I have done on delayed reaction EP? So why are you having a problem? I know why you are having a problem also, right? Because you never write down things. You never take notes. You never create a document, right? And basically, and that is why you have a problem, right? Means nobody teaches me this, right? And I do this on my own, and I find out, right, how I write notes. I have like three notebooks here on my table. One notebook for delayed reaction EP, one notebook for like this thing, right? There is not magnitude is smaller. Like you can get. You have to also understand, right? And these kind of stocks, the biotechnology stocks. A lot of time, this is a phase one kind of a thing, right? And phase one is like okay kind of a thing, right? And phase one, if this was a phase three, then actually there is a drug and there is a probability that this will get into a commercial, right? And this is so, and still because of the market conditions and like it's a very short and week, this can still go and make a bill, right? And so it's not like you're making all these assumptions. Look, this is you can have a like in a stock which is like just do couple of like in a look at Reddit, right? Or look at hymns after that gap up, it made a 50, 60, 100% move, right? So what will be a stop? 2.5%, right? Which is the standard stop. The whole idea, why do I want to do delayed reaction EP? Because I can't get a big position size, right? Risk is small. You can do a big position size and it gives you more time to do the analysis also, right? Not everybody is capable of entering on the day and understanding, look, this is a game changing catalyst, right? And before the open, it was difficult to understand. But now, based on the volume and what is the reaction of the market, that this is the game changing catalyst. So you can get in with a bigger position size and you can actually make more money. It has to meet a SOS criteria, but I'm not like an SOS criteria is like an required for any setup, right? Yeah, you don't. I don't want to enter on day one. Like if my risk is, I'm going to get a very small size, right? Basically. So let's look at like so if you keep going through this list and look for the one which had a recent catalyst, right? And after that, you want to see immediately after the catalyst the first setup which forms, right? And not second, third, or fourth or fifth kind of a setup, right? And here like in a Oracle sold off. I think the AVGO and all they might have the same thing. That's why AVGO will be on my list of stocks, right? And so like this, you go through this list, and if you like say Neo today, right? You didn't enter it as a today you because it wasn't apparent right now. Supposing you do the research, and for research, obviously, again, I look at briefings, I look at Market Smith, and based on a research, I see that look and a Neo had a real catalyst, and like then I will wait for a delayed reaction setup, right? And where did Neo fade? What fade are you looking at? Like, did Neo fade here? That's not even fading, right? And that's a like an after hours, I don't look at after hours, right? And after hours, I have no idea. But just took this as a. I don't think Neo has a game-changing catalyst, so that's not something I. But that's just like right. So so you have to know what is the catalyst, right? And basically, sometimes this is the problem. Sometimes can happen. Like on this particular day, this was the day when the uh, Google won the lawsuit, right? And or the judge ruled in Google's favor. And I thought that I am going to wait for a delayed reaction EP, and it never gave you an opportunity for delayed reaction EP. It just went without you giving you no opportunity to do delayed reaction, right? That happens sometimes. So that's why like on a stock which has got a genuine catalyst and which has like a very small capitalization, I don't wait for a delayed reaction. But on a stock like Google, the assumption is that it is going to give you a delayed reaction, right? So that's the thing basically. On 99 here, what is there here? Here? Yeah, but by that time, here to here, enter here. Yeah, but it wasn't really like, that's a continuation of this move only, right? And one day is not a pause, right? And there is no reaction. There is no delayed, that day, that stock is just a, means like that's buying the fourth day of a swing, right? Which somehow, no matter how many times we discuss, right? On this day, you buy it, right? Does it make sense to buy it on that day? Uh, it didn't give DP, right? And that's how it is. Some stocks are not going to give you, but more than enough are going to give you the ability to enter it as a delayed reaction EP. So you go through this, right? And basically now here is the case of a stock, right? On the earnings day, I didn't think the earnings was any great. The market reacted positively, right? And the volume is also like in a very high volume. So if it sets up as a delayed reaction, then I might consider it. Not that I'm interested in this, I'm just taking example because Carnival Corporation, I don't think has any catalyst, which is really a game-changing catalyst, right? Old people going on a cruise and dying on cruise is not a catalyst, right? So I don't think, but I just look at it. If there is something which I missed, I get so much time to do a research on this. So uh, I can enter it with a large size, right? Everything is about entering on a large size, basically. Here, on this day, Palantir sold off, right? And basically, again, this was earnings, and after earnings, Palantir sold off. So the market considers earnings to be negative, right? I waited because I thought like in a Palantir, I had put in that it is like in a most expensive stocks, 245 times forward earnings, and capitalization is 460, the most expensive probably in the history of stock market, right? So that was the catalyst. I waited and I shorted it here as a delayed reaction, and that's what you want to do, right? And uh, if you had shorted it here, you would have got stopped out. So you wait for a delayed reaction. Again, if you can't understand the setup, don't kill yourself, okay? There are many ways to make money. You can like do it other ways also, right? And if you can't understand the setup, I would just say ki look and uh, it's just like you're not cut out for that setup then, right? And because in spite of so much explanation, in spite of so much resources, if you still cannot find a setup idea, right, or you cannot understand a setup idea, uh, it just is not uh, your cup of tea, right? So again, Wolf was a good example, right? And basically, this is the catalyst, right? And here, the move was 90% or like from the before the thing, this was like almost 80-90% in 3 days, and after that, it like in a pullback and like gave you a delayed reaction kind of a setup, entry here, here, or here, basically, right? Uh, Here is a good one here, right? And this NVO, but I was looking at the volume. I know what is the catalyst here, but I see the volume as not being game changing kind of a volume. But still, this I would look at it as a minor delayed reaction because this is very much capable of making 20-25% move based on a catalyst. And the tablets are going to be launched in next week or a couple of days, right? So I would still put it as a delayed reaction, but not something which is like an A category, right? Oh man, Himanshu, there is an entire like if you just manage to upgrade your membership, right? Just upgrade your membership. Do you see a search box? Do you see video tab? Right? If you see delayed reaction, if you put it there, what do you see? Have you seen all these videos? Have you seen delayed reaction, EP and delayed reaction to them, or like an EP or episodic pivot? I have answered this question so many times, right? What we look for in a episodic pivot, uh, it's been answered like in a thousand times, right? And basically, there is entire this thing Magna 53 cap 10 by 10, right? There is an episodic pivot guide also. There are videos. There will be like an this thing EP. If you put in EP family, there will be a video called EP family which will explain all these things. If you are not willing to do the basic minimum, you are telling yourself, you are telling us that you're not gone through it, right? If you want to learn a setup, it just like doesn't work that way, man. Catalyst, right? If you go through the catalyst, what catalyst I'm going to look at is there. This is why I think after understanding catalyst lifespan, understanding catalyst, mind clarity catalyst, right? So there is like so much information for understanding any setup, right? So let's look at the process flow here, because if I spend all the time in every meeting trying to explain a setup, I think it's just like is a disservice to people who come here for a specific meeting, right? We're talking about a delayed reaction EP as a uh, process flow. So like I do this daily, right? I at the end of the day I go through this list and look for which stock has, and if I see a catalyst, right? Now here on this particular day, you see highest volume traded, probably second highest traded on this stock. After this was the biggest sell off, right? And there was this thing, right? And on this particular day, the catalyst here is Citibank upgraded that stock and gave a price target of some 160 or something on this stock, right? Now, in this particular case, I researched this catalyst, right? And I looked at everything on this particular stock, and I just don't see, based on my research, that like I want to be excited about this thing. If I wanted to be excited about this catalyst, I would put it. I put the writing there itself, right? And you will see on some of the stocks. Once I research the catalyst, I put the catalyst there so that I don't have to revisit the right. So here AMT, right? I did enter it as a delayed reaction here. It didn't like work out. I tried again. It just made only this thing. So now it is no more something which is a delayed reaction. It's just like in a too late, right? There's a catalyst here. If it wanted to go up 50, 100%, it should have taken off from there. It didn't really fire at all, right? So in terms of process, if I see a catalyst, I'm immediately going to, when I see a catalyst and I think that there is a catalyst, you will see I put the catalyst there as when you come to some of the stocks like here, phase 3, hope 3 trial, terminated cell therapy, muscular dystrophies. I thought that catalyst was good enough. So this here it did make a thing, but like it only made 14-15%, not really firing off this thing, right? But that's the kind of entry you want to go do on that. If you try to enter on this day, you would have got stopped out, you would have lost money, right? Here it offered you a good opportunity as a delayed reaction. Anybody who is new, there is enough information for you to understand any setup. If anybody complains that there is not enough information to understand a setup, uh, I think you just have not gone through the guide, or you're not gone through the videos which are there, right? And not even videos from 2 years or 3 years ago. How many videos I done in the month of November and December alone explaining the same concept? Tell me. Every week, right? I know people have difficulty understanding, so I make it. But can I force you to watch the video? Can I force you to like understand? No, right? So whenever you find a catalyst, right, immediately, if there is a catalyst which you are going to trade as a delayed reaction EP, see here, this is a another delayed reaction thing which I did, right? On that particular day, the news was total contract value was 17.4 billion through 2031 with potential rise to 19.4 billion. Microsoft purchases additional service or capacity. This is a game-changing deal for a company that posted just 117 million into revenue, 429%. And this is where I bought it as a delayed reaction EP, right? Uh, Again, there is you have to know what is the catalyst, right? If there is a catalyst which is like game changing catalyst, right? And I say a company comes out and it says, "Ki, look, we have this weight loss drug, and it is like something which you don't have to inject, you don't have to even take all that you do is it comes in a spray and you spray it around your waist, and in 3 days you will lose 20 pounds, right? Then what do you think will go happen to that stock? What is the potential? I would say that it will go up 5,000%, 10,000%, right? So you cannot answer this unless you know the catalyst. In this particular case, the catalyst is clear, right? And basically that this particular stock is likely to go up 50, 100% because it is currently doing 117 million thing, right? So I'm just showing you this as a 9 million. I'm not waiting for this breakout to happen to enter, right? This is in my watch list on this particular day, right? On this particular day, I do this work in the evening and I'm watching it. And these are the only, and this is my number one idea because I put my analysis here. What do you think in the morning when it opens positive? What is the thing which I would do? I will enter. I'm not going to wait for it to have 4% breakout or wait and ask I'm not going to enter it at the end of the day, right? That is the whole point of doing this. Why are we doing this? So that you can enter with a size and put a thing, right? Enter with size. Now, this is the example of a real catalyst, right? And if there is a real catalyst and if there is earnings or something, right, I put it there because that way you know you don't have to go and do this analysis again, right? NBIS is a stock which has this kind of earnings. So I put it there, right? And this is old, so I can update it now that I am doing this work, right? And this is 110, right? And so I will update this now. So when I do my work, now this is not a latest one, right? And this is old, but I'm just updating it for my own this thing. So minus 96. And again, if you want to do this, and if you keep coming with this, oh, I don't have this tool. Can I do it in this? Can I do it in that? You're just wasting our time, right? I explained multiple times what tools I use and why I use them and why I trust them. Now you want to experiment with something else. Is it my problem or it is your problem? So if I find something like this is a stock which I am going to monitor because it is one of the stocks with like in a longer term, and again once earnings come in, it might again make a move and things like that. But catalyst, once you research, you don't want to lose an opportunity on that stock to make a low risk, high, big size position on. So this is the kind of growth rate you're talking about on this stock, right? But like if it sets up, yes, right? And basically, I did enter it here, basically, right? And it was again, Dave. I would recommend seeing the videos. I explained this multiple times. Profitability doesn't matter. The market gives a shit about profitability. Sales growth is what the market and this is something which is there in that catalyst and those videos, right? And that is a basic foundation you need to understand because come since .com market, whatever you read in that Can Slim book and William O'Neill did his research in 1960s. In 1960s, 1970s, profitability was important. Today, it's the sales growth which drives stock. Profitability, if this company actually becomes profitable, the day it becomes profitable, what will happen? Move is over. Good example of that is like this ASTS was going up, going up, going up, right? Now it is finally going to have a satellite and it will start actually making money and become profitable, and the market sold it off. Market doesn't care about profitability, and that you have to, this is what you have to know if you want to trade the setup like this, right? And basically see my like cats, dogs and all discussion on that, right? So NBS, but like it doesn't have an immediate catalyst, right? And it doesn't have immediate catalyst. This is just uh, I just putting it this, and if I have some stock, right, and I have this coding, right, and if I find when I research this stock and when I looked at it and I see that it has a longer term potential, then I put my star here. Very few stocks are going to get this 5 star, right? So this is a stock which I'm going to monitor and I'm going to buy every breakout in it. Why? Because I already spent time and effort researching this. I know this is a secular catalyst, right? And basically, again, if somebody asks secular catalyst, I'll say go and see the video, right? And I explain what is a secular catalyst, what is a cyclical catalyst, right? It has a secular catalyst. So then I would look at it, right? Again, we are asking the same question again and again, right? If I enter a stock, I want to have a 2.5% or less stop. And this is why I'm doing all this, right? Why are we doing this? So that we can have a very close stop, right? So again, like sometimes you do your analysis, right? Here, I wrote down this analysis on this day when it had a gap down. I was looking at like this as a potential short. Earning per share miss, first time in 3 years, decline in operating income tariff. But after that, actually the earnings came in here and it actually went up, right? And subsequently it had a change of CEO and all, and now it is graphing. So not always your analysis works out, right? And sometimes your analysis just is not good enough. The market has its own way of doing things, right? Now this stock has like these two bars. I researched this thoroughly. I researched, and once I researched, I wasn't convinced that this is a stock which like meets my definition of what I look for, either a growth stock or a story stocks or something. So I didn't even like write it down. The lot of skill is to not get into these kind of ideas and not get excited by every single one of the ideas, only get into thing, right? It's 2.5. So these are all biotechnology stocks, and if it is here, I have researched it. Yeah, and once I researched it, if I get excited, then only I track them for delayed reaction. So very few stocks are going to meet your criteria once you start researching that, right? If you enter it first thing in the morning, you will not get stopped out, right? And basically, so this is another one of these stocks, right? And basically, and you see the catalyst on this one is like a sales growth. So this is something which like here the earnings came in on that earnings day, it didn't really like it reacted and I tried delayed reaction on this here. Got here stopped out, right? And my rule is if I research a stock and I'm convinced, which I think this stock is capable of like doubling, tripling because of the kind of growth rates and all, I take 3 shots, right? Now third time also I got stopped out. So, but like I know that there is a catalyst here, but the market doesn't care about that catalyst currently. So let's go and look at like even on this day, I looked at this catalyst, right? And I said also based on the catalyst, I don't see why it went up 37% and how much upside is going to be there, right? And then it went. So not every stock which goes up is I am interested in, right? And something which went up 37% just because there was a hype about some launch of something, it doesn't have any reason for more I will get excited about a delayed reaction where I think 50-100% potential is there based on my analysis. So when I looked at this stock on that day, and I look at all these stocks, I researched them, right? And I didn't really see anything here on the X-ray which made me think that this is something which I need to get excited about. So no, right? And in fact, that might be a short now, right? See here. This is again my analysis on that day. 15 billion order over 10 years. Market capitalization 6.8 billion. So the first leg happened, I waited and I tried 2 times, and third time I was lucky, and then the stock went up, right? So uh, I don't know. Like, and if there is a genuine catalyst, right, the stock is going to go up. A lot of stocks currently don't have genuine catalyst because the earning season is over. So that's why it might be happening, right? The ability to find what is with the genuine catalyst for a stock which had like, and now after this catalyst, right, and after this catalyst, the stock is up like around 242%. So what was the capitalization at the time of this catalyst? Around 2 billion, right? And 15 billion order it gets. So that's why the stock made a 75% move in 3 to 4 days. If you want to do anything related to EP, delayed reaction EP, what is EP, delayed reaction EP based on? What is the most important thing for EP, delayed reaction EP? Catalyst, right? If you cannot understand catalyst and if you cannot project based on this catalyst, what is likely to happen, uh, this setup is not for you because this is not reading chart. This is not putting some VWAP line or putting some crocodile indicator and saying, oh, this is like this or EMA, right? This stock based on this catalyst, you should be able to project. You look at it, this is doing 2.5 billion. Even if it sells, it has a potential to double, triple based on the catalyst, right? That's the skill, right? Now here, ScanDisk uh, is spin off from WDC. I put it there, right? And but like, and this is where the earnings were. This was not something which I had on my radar or I feared. Or I think I was traveling or something at that time. So this why like, and I missed something like this. But um, so again, micro strategy as a short because uh, there was a dilution, right? Big dilution. They did a big dilution. So I was just waiting for delayed reaction EP, and I did multiple times shorting on this micro strategy based on the catalyst, right? So again, you have to know what is the catalyst. In this case of this thing also SMR, right? On this day, they came out with earnings, and I didn't get into as a SIPs or anything on that day. But when at the end of the day, I did my analysis. Based on my analysis, I saw that it had like in a good contracts and all. So this is where on this day is where I entered it on a delayed reaction EP. I got stopped out. Second day, I again entered it, and then the stock made a move up around 108% in less than 1 month. This is why you do these things also, right? Here, turnaround growth. Again, on this day, the earnings came in, and this was the turnaround, so I put it there, and subsequently it made a move. So, catalyst, if you want to make money using this kind of a thing, you need to understand catalyst, right? Now, let's go through this fast because I think there is a bunch of people who have like uh, no idea, right? And basically what this setup is. So for them, they should first spend time doing analysis, right? And basically, most of the time, if you do the study, you should be able to study the catalyst. You will be able to just discard 80-90% of these, right? And basically, they don't become delayed reaction. And sometimes they don't give you an opportunity, right? On this day, Lennar came out with earnings. Earnings was bad and guided down, but it just like kept going down. So there is no delayed reaction setup here currently. QuantumScape, this is a battery company. Udemy, I don't. That's a buyout, right? And buyout or a merger. So whenever there's a buyout or merger, typically you mark it with XXX so that you don't spend your time, waste your time doing this, right? No, Abhi, again, like an. So here again, company announces a massive 23. I missed this one. Like later, I traded this, but massive 23 billion spectrum sell to attempt to improve its financial position and future prospects, right? So that's why it is. Nepot mining, Barrick Gold, Flex. Wow. ASTS space, that's like a now negative catalyst, right? So when you go through this, currently you don't see many setups setting up, right? That itself tells you that like the market is not really. Now here is Omera's buyer. Like again, there was a catalyst here. After the catalyst, it actually sold up, and then it made a move. Now it is making another move. The volume is hardly there, so not something which I am excited about as a delayed reaction, right? Warby Parker. Now I was not in this stock on this particular day, right? So I didn't enter this on this particular day. I researched the catalyst. I looked at it, Google AI Glass partnership, high short interest. So the catalyst is high short interest, primarily because it had very high short interest. And some hedge fund manager also made a startling claim that this is a $300 worth company or something. But I wasn't convinced. And then I shorted it today here because you can use the information because this catalyst is not really worth, like, why did it go up just because of short interest? It made this 60%, 70%, right? So once it started fading, actually I should have shorted it here or here or here, but like I shorted it today because I know what is the information here, right? So you can use that information to make shorting decision also here. This is what I wrote down on that particular day. This is a stock which I have researched multiple times, and this is what happens multiple times. It has missed earnings, so unless it sets up and starts delayed reaction, I'm not really interested, right? Copart again. I know what is the catalyst for all these stocks, right? And this now it's too late. Like, and it's already made that move. A lot of these kind of stocks, you will see, uh, they have like a negative growth, or they have like in a very they have a sharp deacceleration in growth, right? So growth started deaccelerating from 12 to 14% to 5 1 and 0%. So that's why they are uh, so lift it keeps sort of selling off. So now, like, and if you don't want to do this much amount of work because you don't want to go through 400 stocks because you're busy or you have like other problems in life, right? And basically you're trying to solve bigger problems in life, right? And basically then you can decide, "Okay, look, I'm just going to look at the top 100 out of this by the highest volume, and that is more than enough, right? That's more than enough if you don't have time. I understand some of you are like have bigger potatoes to fry, like basically uh, solve the Russian peace process, or like can I do some uh, put gold in your bedroom. So then just like can I do 100, but I go through everything. So you'll see that most of the time again, like this thing, I put that as a negative catalyst. I thought that on this day, this Trump coin failure, lockup expiration, crypto crash, but the stock didn't break down, right? And it did break down. It like only went for 2 3 days, again rallied. So sometimes these kind of things also happen, right? Ultimately, that's and very low priced here again. This is a good example of this thing, right? On this day, it sold off. That was the one of the highest day volume in the year or something, second highest on the short side, right? And what was the competition from Robinhood and Kalshi? So you wait for a delayed reaction and short it, right? And basically, so that was a short here basically. it tried here also, didn't really follow through. So all these the circle though, like I did short them because I knew what was the catalyst. So it's a catalyst based kind of a thing where you are looking for entry, not immediately on the day of the catalyst. You take your time to research it and you find a low risk opportunity and then take a larger size position, right? The ones. So that's just the process. Now the only thing, like say Lululemon that day, right? There is a CEO change, right? And basically, so it went up. But like, is this really a game-changing catalyst for Lululemon? No, because it has to like, it's real. Even the volume didn't tell me. So I'm not really. Can it just for like in a trade? If it just shows up in combination, I might trade it just for trade. But that's not something which I am going to be excited about, right? Newell Rubber Mode already made a big move. Say, I know what is the catalyst there also, but I'm not excited, right? Here, multiple times it missed earnings. So, and this is the good thing. Once you research catalyst, right, you can trade the same stock multiple times based on the same catalyst. Would be awesome if TC 2000 can like, actually TC 2000 has briefing and Finviz, not Finviz, but other things. You can add a panel of news, and if you add a panel of news, you can get that. So it's not something which is like a uh, fantasy, it is a reality. I don't have that panel on news, but you can add a panel, and if you add a panel here, you can add news there, right? So it is possible. So here, GLP-1 drug trial, right? And that's now today, like good example, right? And a G-seat is up today, right? I looked at, I analyzed this, I researched this. I do all this research during the day because this is not something which was on my radar in the morning. I didn't see it. I looked at everything on GSIT, right? And basically, right? So Mr. Alpha out with a favorable report on GSIT, right? And in an X post. So this is the catalyst which is there. Like this guy, Mr. Alpha, whoever he is, I'm GSIT. There is no public evidence of directly supply chain partnership with GSI. There is a breakdown of why GSIT could run this. The validation is this is and blah blah blah. I read through this, right? Now this particular catalyst is like a story, right? This is a story catalyst because when you look at the earnings and all, there is nothing here, right? And but based on past evidence, some of these kind of things also move. There is no earnings which is to write home about or sales growth to write home about here. This is just one person's opinion about this particular thing, right? And basically, now I know this catalyst now. Now, if this stock sets up like it pulls back and sets up like this, an orderly fashion, will I put it on my watch list of stocks to watch? The answer is yes, because I know that there is like and I didn't write it, but like I do have a notebook in which I write sometimes. So I know that like Mr. Alpha on Twitter. So that's the catalyst here. It's a story, right? But story stocks make bigger moves than stocks with earnings and all. It's a dog, but yeah, there is a catalyst. Retail traders get really excited about this kind of thing. So yes, but is it something which should I put it on a Monday's watch list? No, because there is nothing here, right, to put it on Monday's watch list. You wait patiently for it to give you a low risk entry point and then look at it. Now, if in the morning, right, in the morning, if I had seen this news item, was I capable of understanding this catalyst like there's nothing, right? And I don't even know who this Mr. Alpha is, right? I have nothing. I just like basically looking at this thing. I read this, looked at all what he's talking about. He's talking about 20 billion, so this will go for this. This is means like okay. Uh, you have to take this with a grain of salt, right? And a lot of these kind of things, but sometimes these kind of things can run like crazy, right? So I looked at what he has done, his old calls, which other stock he has pumped, right? And basically, So things like that. So he's been pumping this for some time. Like, and he pumped it really hard today. So yeah, but like sometimes these are the stocks which make bigger moves than the stocks with real earnings and sales. So it goes. My research is complete on this. My notes is now here. So I know this is a dog, but if it sets up as a thing, I will be looking at it as a long, right? And why will I look at it as a short, right? Now, I would have been more interested if this volume was really highest. It was like some really crazy volume, right? And basically, uh, but yeah, something which I would like later the day it like, but that is something. Now, this is just a plain old this thing, right? And it's just a plain old anticipation setup, not delayed reaction. So, like this, you go through this whole list and look for stocks which are setting up, and then you see something which has got a catalyst and it has a low risk entry point, and where there's a really good catalyst where you see the stock doubling, tripling, then all that you're waiting for is a low risk entry and put big size. And then play like this XPV. I looked at this catalyst. I know what is the catalyst, right? And but I'm not going to trade XPV because just one look at this stock, there is nothing. Either they can, if somebody puts a gun to my head, also, I'm not going to trade a stock like this, right? It's just not. It's like it's not worth getting involved in something which is as choppy as that, right? So you keep going, you find a setup idea, or you find something with a catalyst, right? And basically, and then it is setting up nicely, is when you get excited. And then like, and I look at like PLAB, right? And basically here, right? And basically, what is the catalyst then? This is a good pullback, but is there a catalyst? Is there a game-changing catalyst? If there was a game-changing catalyst, right, I would have already put it as a catalyst there. It is again a story stock. There is no earnings sales. So just as a trade, I might look at it, but there is nothing which is like I see as a catalyst for me to get excited about, right? No catalyst, good X-ray is not something which will be a delayed reaction EP, right? Yeah, after the catalyst, you are trying to buy it, right? So if it has a good X-ray, why didn't it like good X-ray by itself is of no use if the stock doesn't react positively to that particular news, right? So again, like basically here I wrote down this analysis. I thought it will set up as a delayed reaction. I did short. Next day I got stopped out, and then it didn't really. It just like kept rallying, right? Now again it gapped down, right? And then Ukraine bombed Russian fertilizer plant. So this is where it had this rally and then it failed. So once on short side, it is much easier to trade this many times on short side because there's always a delayed reaction. Immediately after the reaction, nothing really happened, and then it seriously started selling up after that particular thing. So in order to do this successfully, you need to have like a catalyst understanding, and you need to really be on top of the catalyst, right? Means I spent a lot of time today researching GSIT, GESIT, because I was curious why is it going up, right? And it means there is much, yeah, but like this is the beauty of current market, right? One guy can move a stock with like how much follower he has. I don't even know how many followers he has, right? And basically, but like this guy moved the stock, right? He has only 2,392 followers, but he managed to move the stock, right? The amazing beauty of this market currently is that anything with like some retail interest can move like crazy. Means he's not even some famous YouTube, Twitter guy or something with 2,000 followers, and I think a lot of those 2,000 followers must have come today, right? but he moved the stock. When you get into this rabbit hole of looking at catalyst, you'll have a tremendous understanding of like things, right? AI data center, power supply. So this was a good one, right? Basically, made good move. Now here, last FAA contract, right? And then got a contract also. I'm watching this. If it like starts like having a negative it has a negative catalyst, so I would look at that if it like in a delayed reaction, but not today. Like it's not on my watch list currently to watch. I have like in a very little to watch here because most of the things I'm seeing doesn't have like in a good setup, or they don't have catalyst which is really good. Means the whole idea of delayed reaction entry is to enter early, right? I'm not means that is exactly the whole idea. You want to enter them if they open positive. You don't want to wait for any confirmation because you know they are going to go up based on catalyst, right? Means like otherwise you lost the whole meaning of this thing. You want to enter them like as soon as possible, right? On short, depending on how like the catalyst, how terminal the catalyst is, right? And if the catalyst is really terminal, yes, I would enter on short also on a catalyst early, basically, uh, making my stop break even then. It's all about catalyst, right? And if you see a catalyst, right, and I say like a catalyst for like say something like you see on Monday uh, news comes out कि look Nvidia has like had a uh, cancellation of like say ChatGPT or has cancelled its order of Nvidia this thing. What do you think is going to happen? Massacre, right? So in that case, you just shut it like or like as a delayed reaction. The next it opens, no, you keep like doing right. So you have to look at what is the catalyst, right? It's the catalyst. It's all about catalyst and understanding catalyst. You can watch all the videos, you can do all lot of things. It's unless you really put in some real uh, effort, catalyst understanding will take you some time, right? So reality, I just find two setups ideas here, right? After going through this 400, and which is AVGO as a potential short and NVO as a long, where I'm not really like, and I don't see much means big potential for this stock basically, right? And a 20% might be the potential for this. But if it opens positive on Monday, will I buy it? Yes, because you just put a close stop and see what happens, right? And if it, they probably they are they have the drug manufactured ready, so they will launch it in January itself, right? And the drug is like going to be launched in January. So if it comes out in by based on that news, the stock might move, right? And basically, and it's a oral GLP-1 drug. There is no oral GLP-1 drug in the market, and GLP-1 has changed the entire world and entire culture, right? I was in India, and you see like all these film stars who used to be like uh, pulling their tummies inside or they're fat, they all become like like this. How did they like that film producer who used to be like so fat is like skin thick? How did they like? It's all like this thing, right? So these are the two which are my delayed reaction watch list which I'm watching, right? And this is what I had done last week, right? And these are some of the things which I would created just as like this thing. But this is where these two things will go now. Now this process loop, DEP process loop, I run it every day after the close. See which stock is setting up, create a watch list. Once the watch list is ready, you prioritize. Now, when you have only two candidates, there is no prioritization, right? I have only two. So what is the next stage I'm going to do? I'm going to put these stickers NVO and AVGO on my IB interface. I already put it on IB interface. Monday morning before the market open, I'll create orders. Ready to go. I would have worked out in my mind what is the stop I'm going to put in. Now, if this stock AVGO opens negative, what do you want to do? You want to short. NVO opens positive. What do you want to do? Wait, right? Call Shankar. Ask him, Shankar, is this a start of a swing? Should I wait for a relative volume? Go on Twitter, ask 10 other people, right? And basically, then like, and finally you decide to buy. Then last step is to like ask your girlfriend or a wife, take her permission. Uh, then if you're Indian, go in front of Ganesh God, pray, say some arti or something, and then buy, right? Yeah, yes. That's why I did this work on a weekend, right? Or on a evening, I did this work, right? So that I can get in early, right? Otherwise, what is the point? If I wait for a confirmation, I might just run combination bullish scan and buy them, right? Now, none of these are like in the case of NVO, there is no groundbreaking or there is no earth-shattering catalyst where I think it is going to double or triple. If it was about to double or triple and I was convinced about the catalyst, what would I do? I'll take three shots, right? I'll take three shots. If I get stopped out, okay, again I will try and again I will try. Three times I'll try because if the catalyst is genuine, I'm going to try. Third time, yeah, if it doesn't work, I'm out. Okay, what is the point of putting in so much like this GSIT? Research, research, research. Now, if I know based on the research that this is likely to double, triple, and if I get stopped out because I entered early or something, I want to go. I'll take another strike, right? Because two or three trades like this, where you have conviction and you're very, very convinced, can make your year, right? And based on something which is information, right? And a catalyst is equal to what? Conviction. Okay, so that's like really the process loop. Uh, I will do this in same thing again and again, and now go from 1st of January onward. What I'm going to add is I'm going to add to my own process this particular loop during the day. I'm instead of doing it, I will do it at the end of the day, but I'm going to add a double loop. There are a lot of things where I add double loop, right? And double process loop. So I'm going to do a double process loop. So I'll do this during the day also. and I'll do it end of the day also. And why am I doing to do this 2 times? No, I'm not talking about entering multiple times in a day. I'm talking about this particular thing which I did where I went through these 400 stocks, right? And looked for setup and created a watch list. I'm going to do this 2 times in a day. And the reason being, when I do this during the day, right, I see something setting up as an anticipation setup or something which is setting up so nicely, right? It has a catalyst, it is setting up. I don't want to be entering next day. When do I want to enter then? Exactly, right? And sometimes you go through this list and you see that something which you had not put in as a watch list, and you see that it is breaking out like as a delayed reaction, you can immediately get in. So you don't miss any setup, right? And I missed some this year. So I don't want to do the same mistake of missing some this year, because sometimes you are waiting for this to go sideways for 2 3 days and then it starts breaking out. You just want to be in it, because this is EP 9 million, delayed reaction EP 9 million. This is my most priority. This is the setup I want to trade, right? And this is what I want to do. That's the only setup I want to do, right? And this is what I want to do. So obviously I'll still trade singles and all, because if there is free money, why not take free money? But this is my number 1 to 100 priority setup is which is my number 1 to 100 priority.
No.
EP9 and delayed EP9, right? Delayed EP. That's the priority. So I might add a triple loop also, right? I have some things for which I have a double process loop. Like the stocks owned by 2,500 funds, I have a double loop, which I do at the end of the day also, and I do during the day also, because that's again like something for large sizing. Is there anything better than 2,500 funds owned kind of a thing? No, right? So double loop. So I'm going to have a double process loop, doing this during the day also and doing end of the day. Any questions on this? Simple process loop. Every day after the close, if you don't have the time to do it, watch list. Once the watch list is there, you don't want to miss out on the watch list, right? What is the best way to dog is something which has cat is something which has a real catalyst. A dog is something which has like GSIT is a good example of what is the GSIT. That's a dog, right? Means it doesn't have earnings, sales. It is some story this guy has written, right? Which is I don't even know whether this story is true or false, right? And it's just some hypothesis that because uh, Nvidia bought this, they might get interested in this technology. It has the same technology, right? And basically, yes. Means if I find a setup, I am not going to be putting in real size, right? And basically, otherwise, what is the point of doing all this analysis if you're not willing to put the size on this? For my own money, I want to get into in a big position, right? And that's otherwise, what is the point of doing this? Tell me. You did all your analysis and you are convinced that based on the analysis, HIMS is going to make a big move, right? And then you put in some 100 shares position. What point, why am I paying for all these services? Why am I analyzing? Why do you think I spent almost like half an hour analyzing GSEED today? Is there no value to my time? To convert into money, right? And to convert into money, exactly, right? Okay, any other question on this particular DEP process flow? What is the process loop? It's very simple. First, understand the setup. If you don't have understanding of the setup, I highly recommend do not even do the process loop, because don't do things which you don't understand, right? Um, but here is the thing, right? CLYM, does it have real catalyst or it is just a technical setup? Is there, what catalyst is there? What analysis told me that this is something which is like going to be like no, right? And this is just a high tide flag, which is just like what catalyst does it have which is game changing in the case of CLYM? Yeah, this is a game changing catalyst, right? No matter how many times you analyze, you see this and you know this stock is likely to go up at least 50-60%, right? That's what it is, right? And basically, so catalyst, understand catalyst. Catalyst, the moment, and there is a very good way to learn how to analyze catalyst. And what is the good way to learn how to analyze catalyst? Do NTRT, MTRT, and SIPS. Daily process of doing NTRT, MTRT, and SIPS will automatically within a month or within 10 days, you will, this is the, again, the solution is to have a process, right? If you do this every day, you will be on top of every catalyst and you will understand every catalyst, right? All that I do in the morning when I come in is like I look at here and start looking at what is the catalyst, right? If there is a stock, I'm going to know what is the catalyst, right? Here, this week's biggest gainers. Go and see what is the catalyst, right? See here, story stocks. These are the kind of things when you read, you understand, right? And a coupon rallies as cyber update looks better than feared. So this is the catalyst, right? Then you can go and analyze and then look at coupon, see what is the reaction from the market, what was the volume. I looked at this catalyst also today. I look at the volume. When I look at the volume, am I going to be excited about this coupon as a catalyst? Oh, right. So So I already analyzed every single one of these today's move already. Why did it analyze? Because it is something which is part of my process, right? If you set up the process loop of NTRT, MTRT, and SIPS, this you automatically develop the capacity to find catalyst because you are on top of catalyst, right? Solution to all the problems in life, right? Solution to all the problems in life is to take creatinine every day and you have a vegan diet and in a same way solution to all your problems in life is just one thing, right? Process. Set processes, right? Yes. How much should be the volume? The volume, can you see this volume, right? And there is hardly any volume, right? And it is the volume has to be the highest volume in 6 months, 3 months, or 1 year or something, right? And it's not even doing volume of 30 million. The float is 1.3 billion, right? It's a relative volume, right? So, and the one where there is a genuine catalyst, there is a genuine catalyst. How do you know that there is a genuine catalyst? Because you'll see, I was scratching my head on the HIMSS catalyst day. You look and it did highest volume ever, right? and it didn't close near high. What am I missing here? There is a clear catalyst, right? And then like, and it just goes and does 98% move, right? And the volume tells you how much is the participation. Exceptionally high volume it will come with, right? And this is why I sort by max volume, because it allows you to prioritize your idea, right? It allows you to prioritize your idea. And that's the simplest way to like prioritize your idea. ONDS on that particular day, right? Did 220 million volume. Float is 197 million. So that was something which the market considered as a significant thing. I wouldn't do like sub penny stocks and all. I means like can you do it on sub penny stocks? Yes, it's a free world, right? And Trump is not stopping you. You can keep doing it. But if you really genuinely, really seriously wants to make money, um, do it on stocks priced above $3, right? And that is where the real money is. Okay, so this is the process loop, and I already created a watch list. Now the only weekend the other watch list I do, which is like a momentum watch list, that process loop I will do it on Sunday. And again, you have 3 days, right? Today's Friday, Saturday, Sunday you have. If you are serious about making money, you can fix your process and your setup understanding problem, right? And if you are not looked at the videos, why are you trading, right? And why are you trading a setup which you don't even understand? I would like, and if I join this kind of a site, like when Krishnan Kulamagi joined this site, what did he do? He read every single post starting from like the first post, right? He started with 2010 and read every single post, right? And you don't even have time to go through the guide, and you want to trade a setup. I think you are more suitable for becoming a meditator for Russia-Ukraine war peace effort, because that is your exact like expertise. Because there is no expertise required to do that, right?